So prior to becoming mayor, you served on the county council here, and then you decided you wanted to run for mayor. Talk a little bit about how you came to that decision that this was the next move for you.
Yes, I was on the city council here representing Ward 3 when our mayor, who has been our mayor for a long time, decided to retire. My family has lived here for over 20 years. I have two daughters, one's 15, one's 12. I actually came to Takoma Park because my in-laws, my husband's parents, lived here, and we just loved it. And the community has given so much to me and my family that I felt it was time I gave back to the community. When I was on the City Council representing Ward 3, there were a number of issues that were very important to me. I realized many of them were not only very important to Ward 3 residents, but to our entire city. In particular, making sure that we had a responsive government, that we had leaders and city staff who knew how to listen, hear, and act on residents' concerns and needs. And that's something I worked on in Ward 3, and it's something we're working on now.
What kind of a community is Takoma Park? Are they pretty involved in what's going on with their government?
So about 17,000 people live in Takoma Park. It's about 2.4 square miles. And we like to say we live on the edge. We live on the edge of the District of Columbia. We live in a corner of Montgomery County and right near to our dear neighbors in Prince George's County. Yes, Takoma Park is a very involved community. And that's one of the things that makes it such a wonderful place to live and a great place to be the mayor, because residents feel very passionately about their community, and so that's why we're excited to get more input from them.
You work full-time, you have two children, and you're mayor. How do you balance all of that?
Well, you don't, honestly. Each day, each week, you look at what are your priorities. And the wonderful thing about being in Takoma Park is that we have amazing community and people who are very involved and care deeply about their community. A lot of times residents will bring concerns to us. They're very active and educate themselves about the issues. So sometimes that makes the job a lot easier.
Takoma Park is one of a few municipalities here in Montgomery County. You provide your own snow removal, police force, but I'm sure you have to work with the county government to receive other services. Talk a little bit about that relationship and how you work together to get what you need here.
Well, that's actually an issue working with the county and services, one that has been a bit contentious over the years. I'm hoping as a new mayor to build relationships with not just our county executive, but our county council members, so that hopefully we can turn a corner. Takoma Park is a community that's very diverse, and it needs a lot of services. And when we look at the services that we can provide as a city, in addition to the services the county provides, I think we need to really reevaluate what are the needs of the residents and making sure that that combination of city and county services are really serving them, and that we're not duplicating efforts but complementing them. And if the city is doing something that the county is responsible for, that we're being compensated for that.
Obviously, you had to campaign for mayor, and this is a very unique city where 16 and 17-year-olds can vote. Talk a little bit about how you geared your campaign toward them, and was it successful? Were you able to bring out some young voters?
Having a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old at home actually is very helpful. My 15-year-old and 12-year-old were very involved in my campaign, and my 15-year-old actually designed many of our invites and helped to think about getting out the vote among 16 and 17-year-olds.
Looking forward over the next 2 years, what would you like to say as your term would wrap up at the end of 2 years, you would like to say that you were able to accomplish here?
Many of the issues we're looking at right now as our city changes and grows is our long-term issues, economic development issues. How do we make sure as a diverse community we remain an inclusive community? So there are many of these issues that aren't going to be solved or addressed in 2 years, but are ongoing and we're going to need to continue. And so my hope is over these 2 years that we get ourselves on the right track, and so City Council to come can keep us going in the right direction.